So the first question that's coming over is, how is StockIQ, do you purchase by the module? Is it purchased by the individual user? StockIQ is available, and you can purchase, it's sold as an entire application. So everything that you're seeing over here on the left, from our inventory to our forecasting, purchasing, and supply, is all included within the application. It's all based on unlimited number of users. We have a lot of information that's available that's quite useful at executive levels. Maybe somebody isn't using this information on a daily basis to generate their replenishment and their inventory plans. Having said that, most of our clients and their planners are responsible for bringing that data and visibility up into a high level. So it's our focus and our intent is to provide that information, allowing our clients to share this information with executives at no additional cost. So we are based on an unlimited number of users. Another question coming across, and that question is, do you calculate how much inventory should be maintained? Yes, the information on how much inventory should be maintained is directly associated with the ABC ranking of an item. So for instance, out in here, you will notice that this item is ranked an A-based item, and we've associated a 99% target service level. When we're calculating how much inventory should be carried, we're actually calculating based on the forecast error, based on the lead time to replenish, and the service objective. So StockIQ is calculating precisely how much inventory needs to be maintained to meet the demand at the lead time and to cover that overall forecast error. So for each and every item, we will have an ideal inventory position that's based on how much safety stock, our max stock. That gives us perspective when we begin looking at these reportings, whether or not we're in an excess situation where we're running into dead stock because there's too much stock that's out there. So yes, that's something that we also do. You talked about ease of adoption, and what does that mean? So ease of adoption is about, once we've integrated in with your ERP system, and StockIQ has a number of integrations to a number of the most popular mid-market based type solutions. For instance, NetSuite, the Microsoft Business Central, finance and operations, or finance and supply chain, Acumatica. We have standard integrations into those. And what we're talking about with that ease of adoption is we apply our standard integrations. We bring the data directly into StockIQ. Once that data has been brought in, we calculate our forecast. We calculate the inventory positions. And with that information, it's very important that all of that data is clean and accurate. So from an adoption perspective, what we're trying to do is very quickly evaluate all of the data that's coming in from the ERP, make certain that we have lead times, the case pack quantities, the dimensions if we're using our container sizing, all of that information, the sales order history, is evaluated in the shortest time possible. So once that's been brought into StockIQ, we're going to evaluate it. And the goal and the objective is that in a 4-week span, that we're ready to go to training at the end of that period, once people have had the opportunity to evaluate the data, look at the forecasts that are generated, and the supply suggestions coming from the back end. Please feel free to enter in more questions as you see them fit. So the next question that's coming in is around forecasting and forecasting by family. Okay, so forecasting by family is basically what we call hierarchical forecasting. Hierarchical forecasting is the ability to bring in and group products based on where they fall in a product hierarchy. One of the things that you will notice is I have an individual SKU here that's nested inside of this subfamily called desktops, which is then nested into this overall grouping called computers. So essentially, when we're talking about product family forecasting, what we're talking about doing is associating an individual SKU within this overall grouping. What that gives us the ability to do is then evaluate the overall total forecast at that group. but it also gives us the ability to take that information and evaluate it in terms of units. We have the ability to evaluate that in terms of the revenue that's going to be generated by those individual products. Or it also gives us the ability to come through and make changes at one of those high levels. So if we wanted to put lift in at this grouping by 10%, we can make those types of changes directly in here on that forecasting. Another question that came across here as it relates to integration to the system. Do you have the ability to integrate to a system that's not one of the ones that you mentioned? And the answer is yes. We have the ability to integrate into legacy-based systems. Essentially what StockIQ is doing is it's importing a series of data. The data that we're importing consists of information like the on-hand balance, the vendor that we're purchasing from, who's our primary vendor, the lead time to purchase, the minimums and multiples that we need to buy from that vendor. Do we have any open supplies that are open on it at this point? And it's been our experience that in most cases, all of this information or most of this information is maintained in some form or fashion in a legacy or an ERP-based type of a system. So yes, we have the ability to integrate those. Let's see here. Question came in around help and support. StockIQ provides support. We have a series of videos. These videos are operational and they show how to utilize the system. They've been recorded to show you the features and the functions inside of our forecasting, inside of our planning. They're recorded and they will walk through and highlight specific use features for each one. We also have our help facility out in here, which is a full featured help facility. So should you be interested in understanding, for instance, we wrote special articles around COVID. How do I manage an item that has been impacted by a pandemic or other demand streams? Lastly, from a help perspective, StockIQ provides email support and phone support. Furthermore, we provide training on a monthly basis to our clients, and it's extended training on various processes, various features. New features are coming out within the tool. By the way, I'm happy to say that we are ranked #1 from a customer satisfaction perspective based on our overall support. All righty. So I don't see any further questions that have been coming in. I thank you for your attendance today. We would be happy to support you with a one-on-one demonstration if you'd like. So if you want to learn a little bit more about StockIQ, if you go to StockIQ's homepage, there is a button up in here for clicking to see a demo, and you can schedule directly with one of our supply chain professionals. Schedule now, and somebody will respond to you very quickly. Thank you so much for your time today. We appreciate your attention. Feel free to reach out if we can be of further assistance.